Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Horse Guy Mike podcast. I'm your host, Horse Guy Mike. Joining with me is my co-host, John Herco, Johnny the Wire. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, doing good. Horse Guy, how are you?
Doing great. Excited for Keeneland. Tonight we're talking about the Keeneland late pick four for Saturday, April 16th. We've been getting some bombs away lately. I think the pick five yesterday paid like $300,000. Crazy. So we're going to take our shot.
Not quite, almost. It felt like it did.
No, it did. It did. The pick five paid out $323,000 yesterday.
It really did?
Yeah.
Was that the one that had like a 73-1 shot over a 15-1 shot? Yeah. I played the pick four and that did not go well.
Yeah, the pick four paid out like $30,000, I think, if you would have hit it.
That's what I want someday. Maybe Saturday.
Maybe Saturday. So we're going to talk about the pick four sequence on Saturday. We have 3 stakes races, 2 graded stakes races, 1 Kentucky Derby prep, and an allowance race at the end. So without further ado, let's jump in it. Late pick four, Keeneland starts race 8, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. Giants Causeway, $200,000 stakes race for filly and mares. John, kick it off. Who are your top picks in this race?
All right, the kickoff. So it's an ungraded stakes, but I feel like it's a pretty strong field. We were just going over it. The favorite in there, I believe, is LZ, coming from the outside.
I think Campanelle's actually the favorite.
Oh yeah, you're right. Campanelle. She's 5-2. LZ's 3-1. LZ, though, I say that because I'm going to be using LZ in my pick four. I'm going to be fading Campanelle in my pick four. I like LZ. She's coming from the far outside, so she's going to have to break really quick and clear the field as she's a dead set front runner. She's done it in her last like 4 or 5 races if you look at the sheets, so she has the speed to do it. The far outside post is a little tricky. If she was inside, I would feel a lot better about her. But I really like LZ, and I guess I'll go over why I don't like Campanelle right now. She has a big name. We all know she won at Royal Ascot. I think she won 2 years in a row at Royal Ascot. Big time star horse. But after she came back last year from Royal Ascot, she did not look very good at all. She lost at Keeneland. She got 3rd place in the Buffalo Trace Stakes last year. My favorite whiskey, by the way, Buffalo Trace. Shout out. But Campanelle lost that race to another horse in here that I'll talk about later. So I don't think Campanelle has moved forward from her 2- and 3-year-old years. Now she's 4 years old. I think this is a great time to play against the favorite. Started off with some prices. LZ is going to be my first one. What do you think about those two?
Yeah, so I have LZ on my ticket as well. Her speed figures are fantastic, and I think if she can get to the front, it's going to be game over for her. Like you said, the only problem is that if she can get from that wide post, break quick enough and get over, I think she'll have it in the bag. So yeah, she's definitely on my ticket as well. Who else did you have here? How many horses deep did you go?
I have 4 deep.
Okay.
Nice.
I have 3 deep. So I'll go through mine, and then you let me know if you've got some of those. The other one I have on here, the number 6 horse, Jouster. Todd Pletcher, Flavian Pratt. Pratt's been on fire. Essentially, if you see Pratt on a horse, you gotta look their way, no matter what the odds. And this one's at 12-1. So I think this horse is a huge shot.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a jockey change, shipping over from, was that Gulfstream? Was its first race back since July. Did fine, just kind of faded in the stretch in the Honey Fox. But I think it needed that race back.
Let me jump in right there. That Honey Fox was won by a very good horse named In Italian, I believe, for Chad Brown. In Italian could be a future like star level horse. She's definitely going to run up she won a grade 3. She's definitely going to move up the chain. And Jouster, now you have cutting back from a mile to 5 and
that's the thing. This horse has never sprinted before. And if you look at a lot of the races, they win on the lead. They go to the lead and they win from there. So switching to a sprint, first time sprinting, I think is going to be an excellent angle here. So sounds like you also got Jouster on your ticket.
I do. Jouster was a great pick. Yeah, like you started off with Flavian Pratt. I mean, that's all you really have to look at, right? You scroll down, you see Flavian Pratt, and then you see 12-1 odds. That doesn't make any sense, man. Flavian Pratt's winning at 28% at Keeneland. He just moved over from the West Coast to Kentucky now, and then he's going to go up to Belmont and Saratoga for the summer. So I think he's chasing like those big money races. He wants the big trainers. He wants the big horses. And so this is like a prime example of why he moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. He's taken on a Pletcher horse. We don't really see the Pletcher Pratt combo, but I think she's going to be live, and 12-1. I mean, I don't think she'll be 12-1. I think she'll be more like 4-1. I think everyone's going to see that and be like, yeah.
All right. I think you're probably right there. So we're both on Jouster. We're both on LZ. The only other horse I had in this race is the number 11 horse, Going Good. Brad Cox, Tyler Gaffleone. Had a 94 buyer last out in the Mardi Gras Stakes at Fairgrounds. I don't know what to say. I don't really have a lot to say about this horse. I think it's going to get a good price here. I love seeing Gaff on turf, especially at Gulfstream and Keeneland. I think he's going to continue to do well here. That last out, he got second behind LZ, who we already talked about as an excellent horse. That was his first race off layoff. Coming back here, second off layoff, facing a similar field, was only a length and a quarter back from LZ. So if it can get a similar trip but have an inside draw to LZ, maybe that's enough to make up the difference here this time. So of this race, those are the only three I'm going to play. I think we're both going against Campanelle, but I'm going to go with the 6, 11, and 12. What about you?
Nice. I also have Going Good. She's my third horse, just like you. Yeah, we love Gaff on turf. We're America's #1 Tyler Gaffleone podcast now. We established that after a huge Florida Derby day. And Going Good, yeah, she couldn't get it done on Fat Tuesday back there in New Orleans. But like you said, she raced against LZ. She was behind LZ that day, so she came up short. Maybe being one post inside, maybe she can, after they break, she can kind of cut the corner and keep LZ at bay. So I think at 8-1, it's worth a shot. She's got 3 wins out of 7 lifetime starts at the distance, and she's got a second place at Keeneland in her only start. So she likes the track enough. I think it's worth a shot. And like we said, a lot of bombs have been hitting at Keeneland. So, it's kind of a track that plays very fairly. It's not just all chalk all day. So I think Going Good is a great addition to the ticket, 8-1. And unlike Jouster, I think Going Good is going to stay around that 8-1. I think Jouster is the one that's really going to come down from 12-1. Last one. So my last one is going to be number 5, Change of Control. Now, I did mention that the Buffalo Trace Stakes was lost. Campanelle lost that race. Well, Change of Control won that race. That was last October at Keeneland. Same track, same distance. Change of Control. She actually has 2 wins at Keeneland. So she likes the track out of 4 races. 50% win percentage there. She's a 5-year-old mare now. So a lot of times you'll see a horse jump from 4 to 5. Or sorry, she's a 6-year-old. My bad. That just ruined that whole angle. But yeah, so I was gonna say usually when you see a mare or a filly go from 4 to 5 and become a mare, usually they'll make a jump. That is not happening here with Change of Control, but she does like the track, and she did get 3rd last time in that Mardi Gras Stakes behind LZ and Going Good. She's more of an off the pace, like, she'll sit 3rd, 4th, and then make her move. And it looks like in that race, she didn't get out of the gate well, and she was in 6th. So maybe she kind of had a bad gate jump last time in the Mardi Gras, and maybe with a little better racing luck, she'll get out better. In the inside post, she'll save a little ground. So I got the 5 in there, Change of Control. So 5, 6, 11, 12 for me.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, the only reason I didn't include her was because I thought she was so far back in that Mardi Gras that if you're taking anyone out of that race, you take the top 2. And she was kind of just and also ran there. But I like where your head's at with that run. All right, so we're gonna move.
And her being 6, like maybe she's not as good as she was last year, So
yeah,
that might be another worry.
All right, we're gonna move on to race 9. This is the Grade 3 Lexington, going 1 mile and a 16th on the dirt. last Kentucky Derby prep race, last chance to get points and get in the gate. John, who do you got in this race?
Yeah, so like you said, last Kentucky Derby prep race, a lot of cramming, you know, like you didn't do your homework, it's due tomorrow, like shit. You're just cramming all night and you're trying to get something done to get in the gate there. Last week we talked about the bluegrass, and I talked about a horse named Ethereal Road, who I liked coming out of the Rebel. I thought he had a great run. He comes into the bluegrass, and what does he do? He sucked, man. He got 7th place by 11 lengths. And what's Dwayne Lucas doing now? He's bringing him back on 7 days, man. He's just like, that's got to be the owners just like, oh, man, we got to get one last shot to get in. We got to cram. So Ethereal Road this time, he's getting the big X from me. Not to be seen. I'm off his train.
All right. So
that was my initial takeaway, because he's kind of like, whoa, man, he's coming back on 6 days rest, but
yeah, I'm the same way. It's a very Dwayne Lucas type thing, like old school. I don't like it at all. I don't think it's good for the horse. So
I think it could be good if they planned it that way, you know, but they clearly didn't plan for it that way. They clearly wanted to like win the bluegrass or finish second or whatever. And this is kind of a reactionary move, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't even like they pulled up in the bluegrass. I mean, he was ridden to the wire.
Yeah.
So
he got tired.
Yeah, so I went too deep here. We'll start with the favorite in this race. That's going to be the number 2 horse, In Due Time. Horse was doing great before the prep season. Got second in the Fountain of Youth. Now he was part of that big that kind of tumble that went on there. I think he caused the foul that caused those 2 horses to go down. He got up for second. So it's hard to judge how good he actually is, because without that foul, you know, what would those horses who finished behind him, what would they have done? But he did get second to Simplification. Got a 90 buyer, had a 92 buyer before that. He has talent. He's keeping the same jockey. Paco Lopez is riding. He just seems so much better than all the other horses in this race. Speed figures wise, class wise. We'll see if it's enough. You know, anything can happen in this type of race, especially with horses kind of vying for that final Derby position. So he's going to be my top pick. Did you have In Due Time on your ticket?
Yeah, I think I wrote him down. Man, I really don't like how his buyer actually went down from a 92 to a 90 in that race at Gulfstream, because he went from a 92 and he won by 5 lengths. But at Gulfstream, a 1 mile race is a 1-turn mile. And then he went into the 2-turn ranks, and, you know, he was further back. He kind of had a weird run where he was only like a length back, and then he like made up a run to get to second. So I don't know, kind of a weird race in that Fountain of Youth. And I don't know. I just wonder if he's really like that good of an animal, or maybe he's just more of like a 1-turn animal. That's kind of what that buyer going down kind of speaks to me. But it's like I included him because he's one of those ones I don't want to lose to. You know, it's like if I do this pick 4 and let's say I go 3 out of 4 and that's the one I lost was to In Due Time, I'd be really mad at myself for that one. So I think he's like a defensive use, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. It sounds like you like him a lot more than I do.
I mean, I just think this field's pretty garbage. And he's only even mildly talented one. The only other horse that I have in this race, just from like a mystery standpoint, is the number 7 Major General. 4-1, Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz. So this horse won 2 races last year, one at Saratoga, one at Churchill, and then disappeared. Made his debut in the Tampa Derby in March, where he just did not perform at all. He stumbled at the start, was not a factor. He was in 10th place the entire race. So you kind of want to draw a line through that. And if you draw a line through that race and say like, okay, he needed one back on his first race of the 3-year-old season, you know, maybe he has talent. He was a $420,000 purchase. He's out of Constitution, out of Uncle Mo mare. You know, there's a lot of expectations for this horse. And he hasn't really lived up to it. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes and why Todd kind of took forever to get him back here. But that Tampa Derby was a chance to get things freshened up. Maybe he's a little bit more dialed in for this race. We'll see, but I think he has potential. And if anyone's going to beat In Due Time, I think Major General is the one who's kind of like a question mark. All these other horses have had tons of chances to prove themselves, and they're all bad. Major General is the only one who I give an excuse to.
I agree on Major General. He's definitely an include for me. Like you said, you just gotta kind of scratch off that Tampa Bay Derby. He stumbled at the start, he was done. So yeah, I mean, but it is kind of telling that Todd brought him to Tampa to begin with, because if he really was that great, he would have obviously started at Gulfstream. So that's not a great sign either. But I think he's definitely an include. I mean, he's a $420,000 purchase. Like you said, you went through the breeding. So well-bred. Looks like he has some talent. Let's see if he can prove it. He's definitely got to improve on his buyers from his 2-year-old year, but obviously, we don't know. So he's definitely an include as well for me.
Yeah, for sure. So those are my only two. Did you have anyone else in this race?
I did, man. I had a couple more that I'm looking at. Man, Howling Time. So one I didn't pick was Howling Time for Dale Romans. Kind of like on that same train as Major General. Like, he was in the Fountain of Youth. He got a 58 buyer, and it just looked like he never wanted to run. He started off 7th and he finished 9th and dead last. Like, I don't know. So if you scratch that one out, like, Howling Time has pretty good buyers. He won a stakes race last year at Churchill Downs as a 2-year-old. So that's one, like, maybe if he gets back to that kind of form, like, maybe he has a chance. He's 15-1. I don't know. I probably won't use him though. But he's one that wouldn't surprise me if he upset the field at a big price. One big price I did like though was number 3. We All See It. Like the commercial, we all see it. We all see it. He ran a 91 buyer last out at Fairgrounds, albeit in an optional claimer. But hey, a 91 buyer, that's right up there with In Due Time coming off a 90 buyer at the same distance. So, maybe Eddie Keneally has this horse like on the right foot and it's ready to go. It's kind of had a weird progression where it's kind of gone up and down every race, up, down, up, down. So if you look at the ups and downs, it's probably going to run a down race on this time. So, 15-1, I think, is a fair price. And I like the fact that he goes from Deshaun Parker to Luis Saez. That's definitely a jockey upgrade in my mind. So maybe Luis will have him up near the front of the pack, and he can surprise the field at a big price. A lot of bombs have been doing it this week.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. That horse jumped almost 30 points in his buyer between.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those, like, if you cross off that bad buyer,
it's more like
jumps up, but
I'm going to cross off the good buyer, and those other ones are consistent.
Yeah, I know. He's a crazy type of horse. So yeah, I mean, are we going to get the good horse that runs a 90 or the bad one that runs a 60? I think it's worth throwing it in on a ticket though, because he could, man, if he hits, he can really spice up the payouts. And another horse that I do like, I can't get away from him, is Call Me Midnight, number 11. He's 6-1 on the morning line. He ran on the Louisiana circuit. He actually beat Epicenter 2 races back, which, looking back on it, is one of the best upsets of the whole Kentucky Derby trail, beating Epicenter. And then he came back in the Louisiana Derby. I feel like the pace was slow in that Louisiana Derby. He wasn't really gettable. He was far back in the field. He never really made a late run. So he's another one that's kind of a wild card. He's a dead set closer, come from the clouds type of horse. And if you look at his progression, he's very up and down as well, except he's on the opposite side of We All See It. He ran a bad race, so maybe now he's coming back up to a good race. And I should mention he's coming off a 90 buyer even in the loss. So again, if you believe the buyer, he's right there with these other horses. And so all he has to do is run back to that buyer, maybe get some racing luck, and Call Me Midnight can, who knows, maybe make a late run and get up in there and get himself in the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, I mean,
he's got the numbers. He has the most credible win in the whole field. I just won't pick a closer on this track ever. This track is not.
Maybe I just change your mind. Maybe you throw him in there just in case, man. 6-1.
This track has not been kind to closers. It's been very kind to front runners and front runners on the rail, especially. I think he's going to be too far back, and he is what he is. I mean, he's a one run closer. And if he can make up ground, that's great. But that win over Epicenter was fluky, to say the least. But I'm not going to talk you off
Hey,
of
he
him.
did it.
He's got a shot.
He did it. So it looks like I'm probably 4 deep in that one. So 4
Okay.
deep for me to start.
So what are your 4? I'm on the 2 and the 7. What do you got?
I have 2, 3, 7, 11.
All right. All right. So let's move on to race 10. The grade 1 Jenny Wiley, going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. John, I know you got a bomb or a single monster you love in this race. Who do you got?
It's a bomb, as in take all your money and just throw it on that horse and it's going to explode into more money, I guess. I don't know. That was a weird analogy. Yeah, so the 3, Shanisara for Chad Brown, is an absolute lock. Don't listen to anything Horse Guy Mike is about to tell you. She is a future superstar in the making. This is her this is her second grade one race, I should say. She won a grade 1 last year at Keeneland in October. She won it by 5 lengths, open lengths. Granted, they were all 3-year-olds, so she wasn't facing olders yet. As she was a 3-year-old last year, now it's her first race as a 4-year-old. So, the PPs would have you believe this is a 2-horse race between Shanisara and Regal Glory. Both of them, being 6-5 and 7-5, both of them are grade 1 winners from last year. But I look at Shanisara, and she's coming off that 100 buyer. Every race in America, she has improved her buyer by pretty significant amounts. We go from 15-point jump to a 6-point jump to a 7-point jump. So she's just gone up the class chart. She's won 3 races in a row. Chad Brown, he is the king at getting these horses ready to go, first off the layoff, long layoffs. We see it all the time with his turf horses. Like I remember Domestic Spending last year. I think he started him on Kentucky Derby Day in that grade 1, and he ended up dead heating with Colonel Liam. So Chad Brown is perfect at getting these horses ready to go. So, the 5-6 month layoff doesn't really bother me for Shanisara. And my last point about the absolute lock, as I said, the odds are 6-5 and 7-5 with Regal Glory. Well, Regal Glory and Shanisara worked out together at Keeneland. They both ran a bullet workout on the turf the same exact time when you look on the PPs. But I found a photo on Twitter, Mike. I dug for this one. I found a very, an off tweet from the Spanish DRF account, and it had the photo of the workout. They were coming down the lane, and Shanisara is on the inside, and Regal Glory is on the outside. And Shanisara was a clear head in front, Mike. She outworked her. She outworked the horse who's her main competition a week before the race. She was probably just jogging along like, oh, that's cute, you're coming up on me. And then she was going to take off and blow her away. And they're saving that for the race. Chad Brown is sitting on a monster. Shanisara, if she goes off anywhere close to 6-5, you take your mortgage, you take your 401k, you put it all on this horse. I'm telling you, this is maybe the lock of the year.
All right. Well,
the lock of a lifetime, Mike. That's
we're
how good I feel about this horse, Shanisara, in a small field too. There's only 6 horses. So yes, she's a late runner, but there's nothing to get in her way. Like, she's not going to have a bad trip. She gets Flavian. Like, it's going to be a show, to say the least.
All right. Well, I guess I don't have anything to say about that. No, but I will say
good luck selling the people on Regal Glory now.
No, I'm absolutely going to sell people on Regal Glory. I'm of course going to get, you're singling 3 Shanisara. I'm going to do Shanisara and also include Regal Glory. The layoff bothers me. Also, her competition. She hasn't beat anyone in America. I mean, she hasn't. Regal Glory's been facing good horses. She won the Pegasus World Cup filly and mare turf. She has, I think, multiple grade 1 wins. Maybe just one. No, yeah. Multiple grade
just the one. She's been running in grade 1s, but
yeah,
just the one win.
But
she got a second in Keeneland.
Yeah, she lost the Blowout. I remember that race last year. Blowout's an excellent horse too. She has higher buyers than anything that Shanisara has ever put up. That last race that she did this in January at Gulfstream, she didn't even get on the lead. You know, she's a front runner, very speedy. All of her best races come from the front, but she wasn't able to do that. But she still kicked home. So winning while not being able to utilize your style, I think is really impressive to me. So I think she's going to get to the lead and have a ton of energy to kick home. Like you said, 6-horse field, she's not going to get a ton of pace pressure. She's either going to be sitting in first or in second. It's going to go slow. They're going to go 24. They're going to go 48. And she's going to have a ton left in the tank to kick home. I think Shanisara is going to be ice cold second. But she might pass her. So those are the two that I'm including. But if I was to play an exacta, I'd go Regal Glory 1, Shanisara 2, ice cold. So that's how I feel about that race.
I would play it the other way, but I do think it's pretty obvious that like the way you laid it out, Regal Glory going out to the lead and then Shanisara coming from the back, like that's how it's going to play out. And it's just going to be a match race at that point to see who gets first.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Shanisara is just going to, I think the way you get value out of this race is to just hammer one of them and try to get the other one and try to get it home.
Yeah. So we'll see. So you're singling. I'm going 2 deep. I got the 3 and the 4. All right. So let's head to the last race, race 11. We're going 7 furlongs on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up, option allowance race. We got a lot of returnees coming back. We got some big names that have been off or big names last year on the Derby Trail coming back to this race. John, how deep are you for this one?
Let's see. I got 3 written down. Yep. I'm going.
Okay.
No, sorry. 4. I got 4 written down.
All right. You got
a lot
4.
of 4s on my ticket.
No, I got 2 written down here. So I'll start with my 2, and then you can say whether or not you included them or not. I'm going to start with the number 4 horse, the favorite, highly motivated, 8-5 on the morning line, Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. Once again, picking Pratt on top. But this horse was one of the major contenders coming into the Derby last year. Had a huge race in the Bluegrass, ran the Derby, kind of underperformed, and then hasn't been seen since. Took the rest of the year off. This is his first race back off layoff. Chad Brown's putting him in a good spot at a track he knows that he likes, facing allowance level competition instead of rushing him back to stakes level. I think this horse is going to romp here. I'd almost single him, but I do have one other horse that I love, and the layoff kind of worries me. I'm not a huge fan of betting horses off layoff. But this is a more strategic spot in allowance where I think it's logical. So those are my thoughts on highly motivated. Do you have highly motivated? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually like the fact you said you thought about singling him because on my notes, I wrote down aggressive single. So like if you really wanted to hammer this pick 4 sequence, you throw him on a single at the end. Because I do think even at 8-5, he's got value because I think physically, like talent-wise, if he runs his A game, he wins this race. Plain and simple, right? The question is the long layoff. Is he going to run his A game? Who knows? So that's the only risk you're really paying for. Because if he brings it, he's going to win. So yeah, of course I'm including him, and I might play a second pick 4 that has him singled at the end too. You know, kind of double up on that just in case he does win.
Yeah, I love that. So. Be excited.
I will also say he's not undefeated. He got second in his first career start, and then he has 2 wins at 6.5 furlongs. So anything under a mile, he looks like he's even better at. So I think the Derby Trail got away from what he really wanted to be, which is a sprinter. So I think and he's by Into Mischief, which Into Mischief makes great sprinters. So I think he's getting back to really what he's really good at.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my first one. The only other horse I had here is the number 8, Ducale. Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. The one thing I'm worried about here is a front runner kind of speed duel type thing happening. And Ducale's the other one who's going to head to the front. This horse loves being on or near the lead. This is his first time trying or I guess this isn't a stakes, but this is deep waters for a horse that's only ever done allowance races before. Also coming off a layoff, hasn't raced since November at Churchill. But I think these two are going to lock up front. I don't think anyone's going to catch them. They're going to be 1-2. They're going to hit the stretch. They're going to battle for first to see who gets the wire. Like I said earlier, Keeneland's a very kind of front runner. So that's how I kind of see this race shaking out. And those are the only 2 that I want out of here. They have the highest buyers. Ducale's coming off an 89, 89, 92, 97. Really out of Twirling Candy, out of Speightstown Mare, a lot of expectations for this horse. So those are the two that I want here. Do you also have Ducale?
Yeah, I feel like the horse is pronounced Ducali, but you know.
I don't see the E, the ampersand.
Who knows? Yeah, obviously Brad Cox. You got to look at Ducali. You know, never off the board in its life. And I do like the fact that Brad Cox gave him a gate workout back in March 27th. He hit a bullet gate workout at the fairgrounds. So that shows me like he's getting this horse ready to pop the gate and get out and sprint to the lead, like you said. So yeah, definitely front running type and definitely big chance. So yes, you've got to include Ducale at 5-1.
All right, perfect. So those are my two. What other two do you have here?
Yeah, so you went skinny in there. I added a couple more horses just in case. So the two for me, Escape Route, 3-1. He's actually the second choice in here, and for good reason, because if you check him out, he's been running over in on the West Coast, Santa Anita Del Mar type of horse for Mark Glatt. And he's been doing really well over there. If you scratch out, in January, they ran him on the turf for whatever reason. Not really sure why they did that. So if you scratch that one out, I mean, he hits a 96, 96, 96, 90 buyer in his last 4 races. And then that's 3 seconds in a first, all at about 6.5 furlongs. So, I mean, this horse is a dead set sprinter. He loves the dirt. He runs 90 buyers consistently, and he's finishing first and second over on the West Coast. And there are some good horses over there. And then if you want to go like way back, he actually finished second to Flightline. So that, you know, he was never going to win that one. Flightline's the best horse going right now. I just think Escape Route, I mean, 7 out of 9 in I really should say 7 out of 8 in the top 2 on dirt. So, man, I think he is going to be live. He's getting IRAD. So, I mean, coming over from the West Coast and you get a jockey like IRAD to jump on board.
So it's funny you mentioned you mentioned the jockey, and I actually took that as a negative against him because he had Pratt twice, two races ago, and Pratt is riding a horse he's never ridden instead. So
Pratt's on Highly Motivated. So I think, as I said earlier in the podcast, this is why Flavian Pratt moved from the West Coast to Keeneland and to Kentucky and all these tracks, because now he's jumping IRAD for the Highly Motivated of the world. You know, he's gonna be getting the top of the top.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, Pratt knows this horse, he knows Escape Route, but he got the opportunity to ride Highly Motivated. He took that horse instead. Absolutely. So that tells me, you know, the jockey knows, you know, where the winning is coming from.
No, like we said, man, Highly Motivated is an aggressive single in here. You know, really the only drawback on him is the layoff, because if he runs that 97 buyer, I mean, he's going to win the race, and he might get even better now that he's a 4-year-old. So Highly Motivated is definitely the top pick in here. I just think, like you said, coming off the long layoff, Escape Route, you know, he already has 2 races in 22 as a 4-year-old. So he has a little bit, you know, more consistent race pattern. And so I think, you know, maybe if he nips him, this is the time to do it. So that's why I'm going to include Escape Route. But yes, your jockey point is it's on point, if you will.
All right. And who's your last horse there then?
All right. Last one. I'm going to go all the way to the outside. We got to finish it off with our guy, Tyler Gaffleone, Mike. It's Mike Maker. It's Tyler Gaffleone. It's Chocolate Bar. A great name for a horse. You know, if you look at him on the sheets, you're probably not seeing much. He's never won at the distance. He's never raced at Keeneland before. His career high buyer is only a 91, so he needs to improve off of that. But his last race, you know, he chased behind Prevalence, and Prevalence, you know, put him away. He beat Soup and Sandwich, who's in this race. But Prevalence came back to win, I believe it was a grade 3 last week at Keeneland. So Prevalence was in great form that day. And Chocolate Bar looked like he improved on his second race. So he's going to be third time running here in 2022. You know, and he's coming from the far outside, so Gaffleone's going to have a comfortable trip. He's going to be able to stalk the leaders, kind of get position. And who knows, maybe Chocolate Bar's feeling himself that day. He's a mid-pack runner, so he doesn't have to go hell bent to get on the lead. Maybe he could sit mid-pack, swoop around, and some crazy things happen, and Chocolate Bar gets the goal.
Yeah, I mean, he ran behind Prevalence, who was excellent. I don't have a lot negative to say. I don't like the outside trip for a dirt race, especially at Keeneland. I don't like the style for this type of race, but I'm not going to talk you off of him. I just really like the two that I picked.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, Chocolate Bar, he's a long shot. I mean, it's one of those like throw him on the ticket and just to have him, and maybe you hit that thing for a couple grand or something.
yeah, I mean, maybe those two that I talked about that we also like, maybe they go too fast up front, and that's the problem is they just kill the pace and make it suicidal. And so I would set it up for someone like Chocolate Bar to.
And like you said, man, we've been watching Keeneland, and it's been prices have been hitting all these races, so I feel like the track is playing very fair. And yeah, maybe something crazy happens and Chocolate Bar get up and win it.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good. All right, so I'm going to read out my ticket. So I've got the 6, 11, 12 with 2, 7 with 3, 4 with 4, 8. I believe it's only $12.
Nice.
Good value.
I have all of those same horses on my ticket, so technically we picked the same ticket, Horse Guy Mike.
Well, no, you didn't have Regal Glory. You singled.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
All right.
correct. Yep, good call. So yeah, my ticket, I went 4 deep, 5, 6, 11, 12, and then I'm 4 deep, 2, 3, 7, 11. Then I singled the 3 Shanisara. That's the play of the day, maybe the play of the year, maybe the play of my life. And then the last race, I'm 4 deep, 2, 4, 8, 11. So I don't know what's 4 times 4, 16 times 4 is 64 divided by 2. That's a $32 ticket. That's track math. Yeah, I'm an accountant.
Track math. All right, perfect. Well, that wraps it up for our discussion on the late pick 4 for Keeneland for Saturday. We'll play it along. We'll post it on Twitter. Follow along. Do you have something else to add?
Yeah, I do. We didn't get it to it, but there's a big horse running this weekend. Do you have any idea who it is? Not at Keeneland.
Not at Keeneland. Then no.
Didn't know. It's the return of Jackie's Warrior on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
In Oaklawn Park. He is going to be a 1-9 favorite in the Count Fleet Sprint. But, hey, watch it. See a champion. Well, he's not a champion because he lost the Breeders' Cup, but he has unfinished business in 2022. Jackie's Warrior is going to be back and better than ever. I suspect that Steve Asmussen is running him in Oaklawn as a prep for the Churchill Downs Sprint on Derby Day.
Yeah, I mean, the Count Fleet is a good race. That's the one that Whitmore was in every single year.
Yeah. I think they moved it in the schedule, though, because I'm pretty sure it used to be on the Arkansas Derby undercard.
Well, they didn't move this race. They moved the Arkansas Derby. Arkansas Derby used to be this weekend every year.
No, Arkansas Derby was never 3. Is it? Are we 4 or 3 weeks away from the Derby?
We're 3 weeks. It always used to be Louisiana Derby. It was always Louisiana Derby next week, Florida Derby next week, Santa Anita, Wood, Bluegrass, and then the final week was always the Lexington and the Arkansas. They decided to move to Arkansas up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm looking at the Count Fleet right now, and it's always the same weekend.
Okay. Well, it's a bad field, I think. I think there's like one maybe shot in there, but
Like
Jackie's Warrior. I think I saw he's coming off a gate workout, a bullet gate workout. He's going to explode. He's going to win, but for fun. But
yeah, it'll be a paid workout.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a paid workout, and then he's going to come in grade 1 on Kentucky Derby undercard, ready to go. And I think Flightline might be ready for that race.
We'll see. Yeah, Bob's Edge is the horse that can take on Jackie. He won the Whitmore.
Yeah, so good luck to Bob's Edge. You are in for a day.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up. We'll post our tickets on Twitter on Saturday. So make sure to follow along. I'm Horse Guy Mike. It's Johnny Wire. May the juleps be with you.